In Meghan Markle's brand new Netflix trailer, every smile, every touch, every line feels perfectly timed. But when you slow it down, a different story emerges, one of staged intimacy, subtle power plays, and image control. In this video, we're breaking down the hidden narcissistic tactics behind those in quotation marks perfect moments. And you just might recognize these from your own life. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. While watching the trailer, I found about 4 different manipulation tactics and narc tools that Meghan was using throughout. And I think it's important that we name them, provide evidence of them, and then connect it back to your own life. There were also so many mask slips, and I think I'll go through those during the members live tomorrow, and then I'll clip it out and post it for all of you to see. This is all contingent on Netflix not flagging these videos. I also do want to disclose that I've edited the voices just as an added safeguard. So let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is love bombing and faux intimacy. I'm going to show you 2 clips right now, and here they are.
I love the idea of spending time together. There are easy ways to show up lovingly.
So this sounds really nice, right? It sounds warm on the surface, but the delivery feels more like a curated brand message than a spontaneous, heartfelt comment. In the context of narcissism, this is a classic faux intimacy tactic, a performance of closeness that's designed for the audience's benefit and not the other person's. This manipulates the audience in 3 different ways. The first is image crafting. Viewers are given an idealized picture of Meghan as warm, loving, and selfless, qualities people naturally gravitate toward. This makes the audience more likely to trust her narrative and other ideas. The second is the emotional hook. These phrases are delivered in a way that invites people to feel like they are part of this cozy, loving world, creating an emotional connection that may not and does not exist in reality. And the third is contrast control. When public footage is all smiles and togetherness, it can make any negative or unflattering reports seem less believable. Because look how sweet she is on camera. And there are many ways that you may have seen this in your own life. You may have a manipulative partner or family member who gushes about how much they value time together right after they ignore you or treat you so coldly in private. Or someone may perform affection loudly in public, hugging, praising, and hand-holding, but be distant, critical, and dismissive behind closed doors. The love may feel conditional, turned on when they want to look good, gain sympathy, or repair their image, and turned off when they no longer need it. If you feel like you might be in this type of environment, ask yourself, is the warmth consistent when no one's watching? If it only shows up when there's an audience, it's probably about controlled perception and not genuine connection. Let's get into the second narc trait I see in this trailer. There's a lot of impression management, and here are 2 clips to demonstrate that.
Finding new ways to show people you care. I love these moments of discovery and beauty.
The lines that are said in those 2 videos sound like they've been workshopped for a lifestyle brand brochure. They frame kindness and joy as something to be curated, photographed, and displayed rather than lived naturally. This manipulates the audience in 3 ways. There's branding of the self. By turning everyday acts of caring into polished sound bites, she reinforces her image as a thoughtful, creative, generous person, whether or not that's the reality off camera. The second is aesthetic over substance. The emphasis is on how these gestures look and feel to an outside observer and not on the actual depth or authenticity of the connection. And the third is audience positioning. The viewer is subtly positioned as a witness to her goodness, which can create loyalty and make them more likely to defend her if criticized. But she's so kind. Look at all that she does for people. And this is something we hear in defense of Meghan all the time. So how might you see this in your own life? There might be a coworker who always volunteers when management is watching, but does little when the spotlight's off. Or a partner or family member who makes grand public gestures like flowers at the office or a big social media post, but shows little consistent care in private. It could be someone who insists on photographing every good deed to share online because the point isn't the deed itself, but how it's perceived. True kindness doesn't need an audience or a hashtag. When someone's caring moments feel overly curated, it may be about managing image and not nurturing relationships. One of the biggest things I noticed is the way Megan talked about Harry, and she only talked about him one time throughout that trailer. So that says a lot that if there's any words that she has to say about Harry, this is how she refers to him. Let's watch that exchange.
Who doesn't like lobster?
Who?
My husband.
And you marry him? Anyway.
As seen on the screen, you can see that I believe that Megan is subtly one-upping him. That entire conversation seems playful on the surface, but it subtly redirects the spotlight. Instead of letting the humor rest with the chef, she positions herself as the witty responder, using Harry as the odd one out so she gets the laugh without becoming the target. This manipulates the audience because, number one, it centers herself. Even in a casual group exchange, she pivots the focus back to herself, reinforcing her as the main character in the moment. There's strategic deflection. Harry becomes the foil, but the tone is light enough to keep it cute, avoiding any perception of meanness. And there's image layering. She appears quick witted and socially at ease, which plays well for the cameras. And there are multiple relatable ways that you may have experienced this also. You could have a friend who always redirects a group conversation so their joke or comment gets the biggest laugh. Or it could be a partner who uses you as the butt of harmless jokes to make themselves look charming or relatable. And also someone who treats shared social moments as personal PR opportunities. This is something that I've always been very sensitive to. Jokes don't need to come at the expense of someone else. There are so many funny things in the world that there's no reason for a joke, even subtly, to be disparaging to someone. And finally, we see the word we used as soft control. Let me show you two clips of that.
So let's be curious together. We don't need to make a salad. Let's just go and eat cheese.
These phrases feel cozy and collaborative on the surface, but the word we can be a subtle steering tool, implying group consensus when it may just be her preference. This manipulates the audience in three ways. It shapes group behavior. The language makes it harder for others to opt out without seeming like they're rejecting the group. The second is that it creates false consensus. By framing her personal choice as what we want, she blends her desires into the crowd's, making it appear unanimous. And finally, there's audience bonding. For viewers, the we language can feel like an invitation to join in, creating an artificial sense of intimacy and alignment with Megan. You may have experienced this with a coworker who says, "We've all decided," when what they really mean is that they decided. Or a friend who frames their choice, "We totally should stay in tonight," as the group's idea. And finally, a family member who wraps their opinions in we to pressure everyone into agreement without open debate. So I'm curious to know, do you all see these four manipulation tactics as well? I've always been very in tune to the words that people use to describe things. And it's because when you're navigating around so many different narcissists and cluster B personalities, you become hyper vigilant and you really study people's body language and the words that they're using, because they are the cues of whether or not you're in a safe environment or if things are about to get heated quickly. So if you feel comfortable sharing, please drop your thoughts in the comments. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.